Hello. So it's been quite a long time since the previous Code Alone episode, but to recap, in the series we're building an application where you can create premium content and free content, and users that are subscribed and have an active subscription can view the premium content. So at the moment we've got posts that can be premium, that can be free. We've got voting and we've got search, and we've got subscriptions with Stripe already in place. So now we're going to continue on building our application, but first let's recap a bit on what we've done recently. So if I go into the repository and have a look at the last comments, so we've added highlight and search results. So if we search something like UL, we see UL highlighted inside the search in the titles and the descriptions of posts that contain UL. Okay, then we've added assigning a name of the user if it wasn't provided by social login. So basically, here's the case. A user's table has a name column, and when a user signs up with a social account, then we take the name from his social account. Otherwise, we extract it from the email address. So we just get the first part of the email address. Then we've added a progress bar that updates whenever a user votes. So I downvote because it was updated. I upvote, it was updated once again. So looks quite good. And we've added gem invisible capture for there to be fewer bot sign-ups. And now we're going to continue working on the application. So now I'm thinking of adding the quantity of upvotes and downvotes for the posts, then some kind of stats to see how many posts and which specific posts a user upvoted or downvoted, to see which users upvoted or downvoted a specific post. And then we might add Draper for some better approach for front-end styling and front-end logic. Then we might add the gem Rubocop for better code style. And we're going to also add nested comments so that users can comment on each post and comment on the comments. Okay, so let's start bits by bits. But first, I'm going to make a small improvement to our posts controller. So now when we create a post, the current user is assigned as the creator of the post. How is it done? If we go to our controllers, post controller, you see we have the create action, and here we assign the post user to be the current user. But there is a slightly better and more beautiful way to do it. We can just say add post equals current user dot post dot new post params. So here we create the post through the association. So I can remove these two lines and it should work just as good as before. Let's see, I'm going to create a new post and the user should be assigned without any problems. You see, we created the post with setting the current user association to posts. So looks good. Okay, now let's actually see how many upvotes and downvotes each post has in the progress bar. So here you see, now I have one upvote on this post, and what if now the user votes on the post? Let's try and do that. I'll go to login, I'll sign up with Google. Let's say this account. Okay, I'll go to posts and vote on this post once again. You see it has 2 upvotes, but if I vote down, you see the total vote score is 0, but we have some upvotes and some downvotes. So how can we display how many upvotes and downvotes we have here? Well, if we go to our schema, for example, the schema, have a look at our votes. Here we see cached votes up and cached votes down. So we can display these counters. Let's go to our views, posts progress, and here inside the progress bar, here after the div, we can display some text. So let's try. Here you see we display the text in the green bar, and we can also display some text in the red bar. So here we've got text and here. And now let's just display the post cached votes up and down here instead. So I will say equals post.cached votes up and post.cached votes down. and looks good. Now when I change, you see it is dynamic. So 3, 2, nobody, so I unvoted now, 2 and 1, just 2, so looks good and looks quite dynamic. Okay, let's get into a habit of saving all our changes. So git status, post controller, commit main, create posts through current user association, and in the progress partial, well, we'll save our changes here later. Let's also see who voted on this post. So for example, I will open one of the posts. Okay, I'll start the server. I tried to open the post, but I'm not a premium user. So now I'm in the development environment and I can just well, go to the console and make the current user a premium user. I'll go to the application, start the console, say user.last, and we will update last.update subscription status to be active. Now let's see if we can access this post. I will try to open the post, one premium post, and you see it works. So we can see a premium post. But again, all I did was update the subscription status to be active. I didn't update the subscription and add date. So we have current period and nil. So it shouldn't be the case. Both the subscription status should be active and the current period and should be somewhere in the future in order to make the subscription really active. So what if we, let's think, should we just be able to have the subscription status active without having a current period end? Well, we can set a date that is, for example, 100 years from now, or we can not set any date. I think the current logic is fine. For example, if a lifetime subscriber doesn't have to have a current period end at all. Yeah, makes sense. So let's just leave subscription status active without requiring a current period end for now. Okay, so I've opened the post, and what if I want to see the names of the users that liked and disliked a specific post? Now, I'm not sure if you would like to do that in your application for anonymity, well, if you have some kind of anonymity issues, but let's just try doing this. So how can we see which specific users voted up, down? Well, we might be able to go to our posts view, or actually we can try to do it through the console. Let's say post.last. Let's see how many votes we have. Votes total. Dot cached votes total. Post last, cached votes total. It has 2 votes. And let's say post.last dot votes for dot down dot count. 1 down and votes for dot up dot count, also 1. So we can use something like post votes for up or down and count, or just get an array of the votes. Let's go to our posts view, or actually we can just go to the post. Now, if we go to the post partial, then we are going to see this part. Let's go to the post view. So what we type here in post show will be visible only inside our posts, but not only in the post. Okay, it will be visible in the post show, but not in post index. So let's go back to posts, open the post, and here we have this text. So instead of the text, we can say equals post dot votes for up, and let's say dot count for now. And the same with votes down. Let's add some kind of breaks just to see the difference. Okay, we don't have a method post. Let's say add post. So we have 2 and we have 1. Looks correct. And what if we want to get a list of users, a list of voters? So let's say up.by type user dot voters dot block, let's say email. Will it work or not? Okay, so we get the emails of each user that voted up on the post. And let's do the same with the votes down. So votes for dot down by type user votes block email. And let's see, just do we have this in the access votable documentation? Let's say acts as votable. Yeah, again, you see we have post votes for by type user, and we can get an array of all these access votables. So looks fine. Here we have a list of people that voted up and a list of people that voted down. Now this is not going to change dynamically as the partial does, because we didn't set up this behavior. Well, you can do it or not do it at your will. I'll just say people, or just voted up and voted down, or up voted and down voted, or up voters and down voters. Up voters and down voters. Okay, so again, it's not something that you would really want to have visible, possibly, because this way you discourage people or from sharing their opinion, because it can be too visible, especially when given the opportunity to downvote. But it all depends on your application. Okay, now let's actually see, let a user see which posts or some kind of stats of how many posts he upvoted or downvoted. Now, how can we do this? So we can actually write some kind of scopes to get all the posts that a user voted up or voted down or voted in general or didn't vote on. So let's go to our post.rb and create a few scopes. Now we have 2 scopes already, free and premium. And let's get something like scope my upvoted. Okay, and we're going to pass a param, so it will be the user. Usually we're going to pass the current user here, and we're going to get all the posts where the ID of the post contains a user, find voted items, map, and ID. Okay, so if we have such a scope, we can run a command like post my upvoted and get a user ID. Let's say we will reload. Okay, I reloaded the console and I will say post dot my upvoted and say user dot lost, and it didn't work. Now I might have made a syntax error. Let's see. So user where ID. Okay, map. Why doesn't it work? Yeah, just I made a small typo. User find voted items. Okay, again, I will reload and say post my upvoted user lost. And here we get all the posts that the last user upvoted. Let's say .count. So there are 2 posts. And looks, well, looks quite interesting. And we can do the same with the other scopes. So my upvoted, my downvoted user find. Now this I actually not upvoted, but these are totally voted items. So how many items the user voted for in total? Not only upvoted, not only downvoted, but voted in total. So here we should have my upvoted, my downvoted, and separately we can create just voted. So all the items that the user voted for, and just find voted items. And let's say find unvoted. So the post that a user did not vote for. Let's say unvoted. Find unvoted items. Is it the correct syntax? Let's say down voted. Yeah, it should be find down voted, find up voted, find voted. Okay, so the syntax should be slightly different. Find voted, find up voted, find down voted, find unvoted, I guess. Now, I'm not sure that there is something like unvoted. Let's see. No. So let's say where dot not user find voted items. So we're finding kind of the opposite of this scope. Now let's reload and find my voted items. In total 2 voted. Let's say upvoted 0. Oh, it should be actually like this, I guess. No, it's correct. Let's say downvoted 2 and unvoted 18. So makes sense. I've voted for 2 posts out of 20 in total, and these were both downvotes. So works. Let's actually now make these scopes visible somewhere on the users page, for example. So I will go to our users, partial, and display these stats. So I'll go to the users page, and somewhere in the end, we can add a break. And add these stats. So we'll have voted, upvoted, downvoted, and unvoted. So we'll say equals post dot my upvoted, then get the user, and let's say dot count. So there are 0. Then we'll have the same with downvoted, just voted, and unvoted. So voted, unvoted, upvoted, and downvoted. And here we have 4 different stats for the user based on his votes. So you see, there are basically a lot of calculations and a lot of kind of analytics that you can get just based on votes on a post, about the post, and votes by a user about the behavior of this specific user when he votes on different stuff. So looks fine. Now just let's add some titles for this. So I will say upvote votes. Then we'll have posts not voted, posts voted, then posts upvoted, and posts downvoted. And let's add some kind of breaks. And looks quite good. So now we have more information about our users, and we have more information about our posts. Okay, let's save the changes. So I'll go and stop the console, git status, git add all, git commit main vote search scopes for users and posts. Okay, Looks quite fine. Now, another thing we should work on. Let's go to our posts and have a look at the friendly IDs. So let me create a new post. So how to create posts. Add some description, a body. I create the post and here's the title, how to create posts. And if I want to edit this post, how to create better post titles. For example, I want to change the title of the post. You see the title hasn't changed here. And there can be cases when we want to be able to change this title. And how should it work? Let's say, what if we have changed the title, but there are external links that redirect to this particular post? Well, these external links would be broken. And for this, we would need to use a few additional features of friendly ID. So let's open the friendly ID documentation, GitHub friendly ID. And we're going to use a few features of friendly ID. So we're going to make it so that when we change the title of the post, the title here is going to be updated, but the previous title is still going to work. And another thing we can do, we can add a finders method and not need to write the post.friendly.find anymore here. So you see, if I remove post friendly find, we can't find this post. But if I go to post RB and say use slogged and also use finders and refresh, you see it works. So by adding this finders, I don't have to say post friendly find anymore. And now what else do we want to add? We want to add the history feature. So we'll go to the documentation and to add the history feature, we are going to need to run Rails generate friendly ID. Let's run this command, Rails generate friendly ID. So we've already had this initializer and we've created a migration. And in this migration, we're going to keep the history of all the friendly IDs of our posts. So there'll be all the slugs of our posts. So we know that these are posts. Okay, and now let's run this migration, Rails db migrate. And we will say inside post RB that we also want to use history. Okay, and we are also going to say that when a title is changed, we should generate a new friendly ID. So it should be something like should generate new friendly ID. Now let's find this method in the documentation. Let's go to the docs. Yeah, so there is this method, should generate new friendly ID. It can be true or false, and it is going to be conditionally true. So def should generate new friendly ID in case the title has changed. So we can take any attribute of the post and say changed, and we will get a true or false. So when the title has changed, then we will generate a new friendly ID. Okay, let's try to do this. So yeah, and it will be saved in the new database table in the friendly ID slugs. So let's go to the Rails server and try to edit the post title. So here it is. I'll go to edit. I will add like 1 to 3 on the beginning, update post, and the post title has changed. Can I still access the post at the previous URL? I cannot. Why is it so? Because this initial titles were not inside the table of friendly IDs before. But if I change this title, then it will be still available. Let's say I'll change it 1 to 3 to 4, 5, 6. I update, and now I go to the post with 1 to 3 in the title, and you see it still works. Why does it work? Because this title was created after we've added this history feature and after we've done this migration of friendly ID slugs. So it was already recorded as a friendly ID slug. That's why the old URL still works. So looks quite good. Okay, let's try to go back to the documentation of friendly ID and find more about our history method, our history class. So here there is this option find post, and we can have a conditional redirect. Let's try adding this redirect and see if it works and fits the needs of our application. Let's go to controllers, post controller, and what does it do? If an old ID was used to find the record, then request path will not match the post path, and we should do it through one redirect that uses the current ID. So now we have the old ID working and we have the new ID working. And possibly if we add this to set post, then it is going to use only the new ID. It's going to redirect to the new ID. Yeah, it's quite handy that we're using post, and the example is also using the post model. So let's try to refresh the page, and you see we were redirected to the new ID. So when we use the old one, we get redirected to the new one. So kind of makes sense and seems to work well. Let's try to edit the post once again and see if it works. Will it work? It looks like I cannot go to edit because we get redirected back to this page. And you see, this doesn't look really nice when I go to a post. Yeah, a post without any votes. Since I've added the votes count, doesn't look nice at all. We have just 2 zeros. So it is another thing that we have to tackle. Now, for now, I will disable this option. Just let's think why we cannot access the edit action, for example. Why can't we access edit? Because the request path is not post path, it is edit post path. So here we need an option for edit, an option for show, which should come up with a better option. So for now, I will just comment it out and just say post path is only for show action. Okay, so we will put this on hold for now. And what we've done, we've added some enhanced friendly ID options for. So we've added history and finders. Finders not to have to say friendly find params ID here in the controller. And we've added history to be able to access our posts by old URLs. Let's just save our changes. Git status, git add all, git commit main, friendly. Now let's say gem friendly ID, finders, and history. Okay, looks fine. And now let's have a look at our previous problem. So now, since we've added the votes count here for each post, we have zeros if there are no votes. So 1, 0, 1, 1. So we should come up with some kind of better solution. Now, how did we get this problem? So if we go to the partial, to the progress partial, and remove the numbers, it looks fine. So what if we display the numbers if they are not 0? Now, how can we do it? Now, what if there is a method like non-zero? So we will display post cached votes up if post cached votes up is non-zero. Let's see if it works. it seems to be working. And we will do the same with post cached votes down. Display if cached votes down is non-zero. Okay, so makes sense. Or actually, we don't have to check each of them. We can just check the total count of the votes. So instead of checking two different ones, we can check the total quantity of votes. So how can we do it? Let's again go to our schema and we have the cached votes total and just check it twice. So cached votes total non-zero here and here. And you see the result is the same. So works well. And we are not checking two different things, we're just checking one. So let's save our changes. Let's say git status, git add all, git commit main, don't display 0 votes count in progress bar. Okay, looks quite fine. Well, now there is one thing I would like to do. Possibly add some SEO for our application. So search engine optimization. Basically, what are we going to do? If we open any blog, there will be some kind of SEO friendly headers like the post description, post title, post tags, and the same for different pages. So here you see at the moment inside our application, wherever we go, we always have the name of the application visible in our title. And we can also make the title dynamic. So we're going to make a dynamic title and we're going to add the SEO headers to each of our posts. So if we go and inspect any of the posts and go to head, now we have the title superrails and we would add some kind of meta tags for the title, for the description. So that's actually why we've added the description here. Let's go to a blog, for example, and compare the post titles. So I will open this blog post, go to inspect, and go to the head. And here you see we have meta OG, so open graph title. And here we have gem public activity, so the name of the post. Then we have the author. We've got the description of this particular article. Description here once again. Then canonical URL. So the URL that should get all the counts and traffic, like the source of this post. Then when it was published, then the title for Twitter, and so on. And all these things, having them makes it easier to index the website by search engines and to index each post. So actually here, this is a Jekyll blog that mostly handles all the SEO tags automatically based on the title that you give to the post and maybe based on some tags that I've added. So we might be able to find some tags here. So again, the Twitter tags, and there must be some regular tags. Okay, can't find the regular tags, but there should be some like Ruby, Rails, Ruby on Rails, public activity, surveillance, for example. So now we're going to add these kind of tags to different pages of our application. And now, what is the easiest way of adding tags? So we can just go into our layouts, application HTML, and inside of our head, here we have our meta, and we can add some kind of meta tags. So let's just Google like what kind of meta tags there can be. Meta tag. So we can have description, keywords, author, viewport that is already by default to make the site responsive based on the screen width. So what if we just add some kind of meta tags like this here? Let's refresh one of our pages and go to the head. And here you see we've got this description, keywords, and author. So now Google and Bing and other search engine are going to give our website a chance of being found in the search results by these kinds of keywords or author or description. But it isn't a really great way just to add the meta tags inside of our application HTML. And there is a really good way of doing it in a Rails style for dynamic views without reinventing the wheel. And the gem is actually named meta tags. So gem meta tags. Let's try to find this gem and use it inside our application. So I'll go to the source code. And let's add the gem to our gem file. Okay, now I will run bundle, get status. I can actually close all the windows that I haven't been using or that I'm not going to need right now. Okay, so how do we use this gem? Let's have a look. We can run Rails generate meta tags install and see what this command does. So I will go to config, initializers, meta tags, and here we have a few options. So it says that by default, the title of a meta tag should be around 70 symbols. Well, if we go into our post.rb, at the moment, the title should be up to 140 symbols. So that's, well, that's quite a lot. We can actually just also decrease the maximum title length of our post in order for it not to get truncated. So we can make it 0 to remove limits, but we can also leave it at 70. Well, I think that 70 is set just as a good best practice, so I would leave it as it is. Then here we've got this option to truncate the site title. So what is the site title? It would be Super Rails, and then we would have a name of a post. So should it be truncated as the site title, like Super Rails should be sup and 3 full stops? Well, I guess not. Then description limit, what do we have as a description? 200. Then keywords, keyword separator, then keywords, should they be converted to lowercase, yes or no? Then, well, some more options that I don't want to go deeper into. Let's just try using the meta tags. So we can add display meta tags site and something like my site inside of our head. So let's go to our application HTML. I will remove these meta tags. And what if we add display meta tags site my website? Okay, I'll start the server. Okay, now let's go to our head. And we have, so again, we have a title Super Rails and the title my website. It's not really cool that we have two titles. So what if we remove the title Super Rails from here? You see, now we've got the title set as my website. Wherever we go, it is my website. But this isn't really cool. So this here we would have the name of our application. Now you can just say something like Super Rails, or you can get the name of your application from application.rb. Now, if you go to your config, or is it now? Where is this file? Application.rb. Yeah, it is in config. Here you have the name of your application. So you can just display the name of your application here dynamically instead of just hard coding a string. And to do it, we would say rails.application.class.module parent.name. Let's see if it works. Okay, now we get super Rails. Let's say I will change the name of the application in application.rb. Let's say 123 here. I will restart. Okay, unexpected constant. Let's add 123 in the end, for example. And here we get super Rails 123. So again, it's one of the ways of just getting the name of your application with code, but not with a string. So okay, we've just got a meta tag where we just have the site title, but this is too little. All we've set is the site title. What if we want to set more things? So what can we have? We can have the page title, the page description, page keywords. Well, what if we add these inside our posts? Let's go to our post controller and go to the show view. So let's say page title will be at post.title, then description will be at post.description, and keywords are going to be, well, let these be the keywords for now because our post doesn't have any tags or keywords yet. So let's see if it works. I will open one of the posts and see if we have these meta tags. Now I'm in the head. So we have description, how to create posts. The keywords are present, and we have a title. Yes, we have a title. So we have the name of our application slash. So this was created by the SEO text gem slash and the name of the post. If we go here, again, we have the name of the application slash and the name of this specific post. So this way we can kind of have more dynamic tags. Looks quite fine. So we've added these three things inside our posts controller show action, and we can do it in some kind of slightly better, possibly better syntax. Instead, we can just say set meta tags and say the title, description, and keywords. So instead of having three declarations, we can kind of have one declaration. So let's say title will be post title, description will be post description, and keywords are going to be something that we can declare later on. I try once again, and yeah, it seems to work. We have the edited title of the post, and we have all these meta tags written in the right syntax and that we can generate in a better way than just hard coding a few meta tags inside of our application HTML layout. Now, this way we would need to add meta tags to all our pages inside the application where we want to have a dynamic title, to have a description different from the general description of your website. Yeah, actually, what if we want to add some general keywords and description that will be available on all the pages of our application, even if we don't have this set meta tags in a specific controller action? How are we gonna do that? What if we try to set meta tags inside our application HTML? Let's try saying set meta tags. And how's it going to work? Let's just try. So we've set display meta tags here and set meta tags here. maybe we should also have display meta tags. So we will say something like keywords will be A, then B and C. Let's see if this works. I will go here, and here I expect to have the keywords as site, login, and members. But if I go to another page, I expect different keywords. So going just to posts, I'll go to the head, and let's see, we have the keywords A, B, and C. So makes sense. So now, for example, inside our application HTML layout, we are going to display meta tags that are valid for all of our application. But if we go into a specific controller action, we can have meta tags for this specific controller action. So kind of makes sense. Now, there are quite a lot of meta tags that we can set, not only title, description, and keywords. We can set no index or index this page, then no follow, no archive, canonical, previous post, next post. So we are going to use these in the future. Then a few tags that we can use for Twitter, a few for Open Graph, and so on. So I think we should actually dive deeper into using different kinds of meta tags later on in the next videos and see the difference and see and explore deeper into how they work with search engine optimization. But for now, this will be fine for an introductory level usage of meta tags. We've set a site title. Let's also add some description here. So description, Ruby on Rails, modern Ruby on Rails screencasts and blog posts, for example. Modern Ruby on Rails screencasts. Then we'll have some keywords like Ruby, Rails, and Ruby on Rails. Okay, and if we go into a specific post, we're going to have the title as the post title, description as the post description, and we're going to have some kind of keywords that we can set later based on post tags that we are going to also add later on. So what if we go into, let's say, our posts index? Let's remove a few pages that we are not using right now. Here you see we have just the name of the application, or we go to log in or to sign up. Okay, there seems to be an error. So yeah, I forgot a comma here. Okay, I will sign in and try to make a few more dynamic titles. Now we have only a dynamic title when we open a specific post. And we have just the name of the application when we have any other page. So what if we add a few more dynamic titles? For example, when we go to the view to create a new post, we will have a meta tag of the title for new post. Let's say set meta text title is going to be new post, for example. Let's see if it works. I'll go to new post. And here we have Super Rails, new post. So kind of makes sense. And what if we actually display not the new post words, but display the name of the controller and name of the action? So the controller is posts and the action is new. Let's try to display something like controller name and action name. Let's start with just controller name. It should be posts. And the action name is new. Let's say action name. So we have new posts. And let's say action name dot capitalize and controller name dot singularize dot capitalize. Okay, and again we have new post, but in comparison to what we had previously, we can use this more dynamically. So if we added this same meta tag title into the edit and go to a post and go to try to edit one of our posts. You see, this tag was dynamically changed to edit post. So it's another trick that you can do. And with this logic, you would need to basically add the display meta tags generally inside your application HTML for all the pages that don't override these meta tags. And in each of your controllers, set some kind of meta tags as title, description, keywords, and whatever else you want. And usually it really pays off in search engine optimization, and you might get more organic clicks on your content in comparison to, competitors in the search results. So it really makes sense to add the meta tags for the posts, as this is the main content of the website at the moment. Okay, let's save our changes. I'll go to git status, git add all, git commit main, and say gem meta tags. Okay, git push. Looks good. Okay, so I think it's enough for now. Really, I don't want to be making coding videos that are too long. I've tried watching over an hour long videos on my own and it gets quite exhausting. So I think it's better to cover fewer topics, but with more energy in shorter videos than more topics in longer videos. So I guess thanks for being with me, and we're going to continue in a separate episode.